Hey y'all, welcome back. So if you watched the podcast from earlier, this is a continuation. YouTube shut me down and I couldn't finish what I wanted to say, but I was talking about how music is not divisive. People are, and we got on the conversation of Dave Brubeck's band and the reaction that we did. So the thing about Dave Brubeck, which I don't think a lot of people understand, was Dave Brubeck was really pushing for equality. And in some of the comments when we reacted to Take Five and everyone had a solo except for Eugene Wright, which was the bassist player, and we mentioned it. There were a few riled up people in the comment section. We did mention that during the time, which was during the civil rights movement, uh, it was unusual to have a band that was integrated. So Dave Brubeck was definitely making a statement. And if you've seen this video, TNT React to Dave Brubeck, I did mention that I was disappointed that Eugene didn't have a solo. And someone in the comment section said, if there wasn't a video and you didn't know he was black, would you be disappointed then? And the response that we gave was obviously yes, because um, everybody had a solo but the bassist. Someone did inform us that sometimes the bassist does not have a solo, and since we're new to jazz, we weren't aware of it. And I do want to read a comment that was under this video, but it has been deleted. The person deleted the comment. He said, really disappointed you brought race into this. It's beneath you. Would you have been as disappointed if the bass player was white? And we commented, yes, absolutely. The bass was one of the most prominent instruments in the song. How can you ignore it? Further, as I stated in the video, this was 1959. Let's not pretend that Jim Crow laws didn't exist. It's disappointing when people comment as if it didn't. And then he stated, I did think about it critically. To even suggest that a musician was denied a solo as a result of Jim Crow is ludicrous. It appears you arrived at your conclusion solely on the color of the bassist's skin and the year of the performance. Had you heard this without benefit of the video, would you have complained of the lack of a solo by the bassist? If so, the color of the skin of any of the musicians would be irrelevant. Be honest with yourselves. I've been a fan of your videos for a long time and never would have believed you capable of leveling this kind of accusation. So I think a lot of people, when it comes to stuff like this, would like us to ignore what was going on at the time. But when you do that, you completely erase what Dave Brubeck, his movement was. You deny what he was pushing for. You deny everything that he fought very hard for.
I'd like to shift gears, if we can, back to the 50s and 60s because I definitely want to get your input on an event, I guess, a stand on your behalf that received a lot of attention, which is in 1960 when you had to cancel 23 of 25 scheduled dates at colleges in the South because of a racial issue. Your bass player, Eugene Wright, was an African American, and once the schools found out about that, Apparently, most of them were not willing to have an integrated group perform at the universities. Can you tell me a little bit about that experience and what your thought process was in basically refusing to compromise when it came to the membership of your quartet?
Yeah, that was a surprise because you usually were hired by the students, and they're usually on every campus was a committee that hired people that they wanted to come in and perform. So the students wanted us, the teachers usually wanted us, and when you get to the president, if he knew that there was going to be bad publicity, it's hard to believe because we have come so far
Mm-hmm.
in racial relationships that it's hard to believe that I'd have to have a police escort to a university and police cars stay outside. One night, a bomb was thrown at, back behind the hall where Louis Armstrong was playing. And the term for a drum beat sometimes is a bomb. And all Louis said, that was a bomb.
That's a real bomb, right?
Yeah, it was and he
Mm.
laughed and kept playing,
Mm.
but he knew it was a bomb.
Mm.
So it wasn't easy. And we went through many things. And what allowed us to go was the attitude of the quartet, Joe Morello, and Eugene Wright, and Paul. And one time where Eugene couldn't stay in the hotel was in Salt Lake City. It wasn't always the South. We had this happen to us above Minneapolis at Lake Minnetonka. And in certain other cities I don't want to mention were in the North and very tough on integration.
Mm.
But Eugene would, for instance, this one night we were in Oklahoma after the concert. We had played at an Air Force base and they couldn't allow us to stay there. So they said, go to the hotel in town. And when we went to register, they saw Eugene Wright was African American. They wouldn't allow us to register. So Gene and Joe and I stood in front of the hotel wondering, well, where will we sleep? And we're just talking. And Paul pulls up in a Cadillac with some guy that had given him a ride. And the guy said, why aren't you inside in the hotel? I said, oh, they won't allow us because we're an integrated group and they don't allow African Americans in this hotel. He said, let me go in and talk to them. I said, you can't say anything I haven't already said.
Mm.
He said, do you mind if I talk to him? I said, no. So he goes in, and he comes back, and he points for us to go in. And I said, what did you say that I didn't say? He said, I told them I'm going to foreclose on their little hotel unless you can go in and stay here tonight. And another thing, if you want to get out of here tomorrow in a hurry, I have 2 jet airplanes, and you can have
Wow.
wherever you want to go. And he owned a big oil company.
Wow.
Sounds like a good friend to have, though.
Oh, Joe Morello kept friendly with him for years. Yeah.
A similar incident that we've heard about is a story of how you canceled an appearance on the Bell Telephone Hour television program after the producers objected again to having you play with Eugene Wright in an integrated band. Do you recall that incident?
Very well. And I told them that we weren't going to change. And they said, well, then we can't have you. And I said, all right, but I'm not going to do your television show. And they got Duke Ellington to take our place.
Hmm.
And
That's
I
odd.
remember Paul and I watching that show saying, well, at least they've still got one of the great jazz groups we've ever had.